by my front door, and I'm miles and miles from the nearest store.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About with Biff Lucky and Mr. Fun, the podcast where we will talk about everything. We will talk about anything. Quite frankly, we're going to talk about it all.
I'm looking over him. He's looking out the window when his cue was coming. I was like, Biff, wake up. Come on, we need you.
I'm a professional. I can do this in my sleep, which I feel like I need to be sleeping right now. So it's a Sunday morning. Odd time for us to be doing the podcast, but we are doing it on a Sunday morning together.
Is there a regular time that
we usually
Sunday
do,
evening?
Sunday evenings was probably 90% of our podcasts are Sunday evenings.
Yes.
We're 117 or 18 into this. I happened to see the number the other day. I can't remember the exact numbers, but we're close to that.
Send us a message if you've listened to every podcast. How many of our fans do you think have? There's definitely a handful.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, because we get feedback from a lot of from similar people over time.
Yeah.
They will correct us in some cases, which is fine. We welcome that.
Those fit into the super fan.
Oh, well, they're
category.
for sure super fans.
Yeah.
So that's good. So, anyways, we are doing it again together, which is nice to do. It's basketball. We're going to talk basketball again.
Yeah.
I think the tournament's ongoing, and Maryland's got some big news. Unfortunately, we're going to talk about it as well. But before we get into that, Mr. Fun.
So I heard yesterday was National Mermaid Day.
Yep.
Is that right?
International.
International. Did you celebrate?
I did.
How'd you celebrate?
I went to the beach.
Yes.
And I drank a lot of liquids.
Right.
Yeah.
We did go out last night.
Right.
So-
Is a mermaid a woman or a fish?
It's half and half.
I think it depends if you're hungry or horny.
How does a mermaid? Okay, everybody says mermaids. They're so beautiful. Oh my gosh, can you imagine if a mermaid? But how does a mermaid have sex? It doesn't. She doesn't have any.
Well, it's like a fish.
Holes.
How does a fish have sex?
Well, fish has sex, right?
I know, but why is it that a mermaid is so attractive to people? Because it's really not.
Silly question.
that
Does
great.
a fish have sex, or do they
lay eggs?
Do they lay? But do they? The one just gets the eggs.
I had this dream of having sex with a fish. I didn't. I just wanted to try to make up a joke on the run there. Hey, why does a mermaid wear seashells? Because she outgrew her beach shells.
Oh, good one.
Look at you.
They just come to me sometimes.
That's very good.
But I think the mermaid is a trap. I mean, because look, she looks so great from the waist up, but the bottom is not good.
You know that they're not real,
I know.
right?
This is a
No, I'm
really,
just saying. But
You know that there are no.
It's like a trap for men.
Did you know he rode over here on his unicorn? It's incredible what he
he
does.
flew his Pegasus.
It flew his That's right.
Although I celebrated International Mermaid Day, I'm just not a big fan of the mermaid.
Not a fan.
Okay, so I'm just going on record.
Right.
Why would there be an International Mermaid Day?
People like the mermaid. I don't know.
Yeah. There's an International Everything Day now.
We need an International Mr. Fun Day.
I'm waiting someday.
Someday, that's right.
Yeah.
So-
When I pass away, maybe you could create that holiday for me. When I pass away, I'm going to have a hot body. I've decided to be cremated.
Oh,
It's going to be a smoking hot body.
cut him off.
Wow, he's come out on fire.
Where did that come
it were.
from? That joke was in the memory bank. You get it, right? Smoking hot body?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
No, thank you. So we are not drinking any Scotty's vodka today, but he's been active on social media still.
Yeah.
Scotty, right? So which we're very happy about that. We espouse the virtues of the vodka to anybody we meet down here in the beach communities because he's everywhere.
Yeah.
So to speak, in Delaware. So I'm glad to see that.
Hardest working man in
vodka,
In
right?
the booze business.
Well, yeah, we all got together to watch the Maryland play on Friday, and was it Friday or Thursday? Thursday. And I'm like, come on, Scotty, come out and watch with us. He's with his customers in Montgomery County, Maryland.
Again,
And
Tito's has nothing on him and working hard.
yeah.
I think Scotty is the new Tito.
yeah,
when it
yeah.
comes down to
Tito's like boxes of vodka just show up. Sometimes the boxes of Scotty show up, and Scotty does too.
What I was amazed, I saw he posted the first $150. I think is what it was. His 5 years,
Yeah.
right? This last week of Scotty's vodka, and that was right in the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I thought he had been in business sometime before that because he was delivering cases.
Yeah.
He was hand delivering cases in spring of 2020. So it was interesting to see that. I thought he had been well established because he came out of the gate like he was established.
Yeah.
Which is to his credit.
Well, that was one of my first COVID purchases when I saw that he was, and everybody's all locked in the house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Scotty's got vodka, and he delivers it.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, he and lawyers have a lot in common. They both handle cases.
Goodness gracious.
You know what? I was looking out the window here in beautiful, what's the name of this town we live in now?
Dagsboro,
Delaware. And I'm not lying. It just flew away. I was trying to point to it. It was a red-headed woodpecker.
Yeah, we have a lot of woodpeckers.
Yeah, that would have been a great sound to have on the podcast.
Yeah,
He didn't start pecking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe next time I'll cue the woodpecker.
Yeah, that would be
right
good.
after the Pegasus.
You don't see those often.
Good. So, all right, let's jump right into it. We talked, as was teased, basketball. Breaking news right before we went on the air is Kevin Willard, Maryland's now former coach, just announced that he's going to Villanova.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. I mean, he had his first press conference for the NCAA tournament. He comes out and he basically says, "Hey, we need more for our players," and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's really fighting for get more resources for him, for his players and for himself and the program." The next three press conferences he did, he just dug himself a hole, threw Maryland under the bus, was evasive as these Villanova rumors were out there.
Right.
And he was official. I think I met with Villanova yesterday, finalized the deal, and now he's their head coach.
And so when he came out and he basically outed Damon Evans going to SMU, and talked about money, that he was trying to set up the duck that there's just, to your point, he's not the bad guy.
He's throwing out excuses why he's leaving.
Right.
And
I might be in the minority here. I think he was sincere with his first press conference. I think his mind was not made up. I think he wanted to stay at Maryland, and he wanted to leverage this idea that he could wind up at Villanova. And then I think over time, the idea of going to Villanova became more obviously the choice he wanted to make. But I do think that first press conference he was on the Kevin Sheehan show where he basically said, he didn't say it, but I thought he was staying. I thought after that.
That's the whole point. So, okay.
So was he lying then or not? I don't know.
No, he couched the right words though.
As of now.
As of now.
Right.
But here's the thing. Do you think Villanova? Okay, so they fired their coach a while ago, and they knew they were going to fire him even before they fired him.
Right.
Okay, so let's go back into let's just say that's February.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't think that Villanova was working on who their candidates are and doing some reach out behind
I'm sure
the
they
scenes?
were. I'm sure they reached out to him, and I still think at that time of the first press conference he wanted to make Maryland work, but I don't know. Hey, do you think he's a good coach?
Do I think he's a good
X's and O's?
He was, our comparison was Mark Turgeon, his predecessor. I think he was better than that. I think he was fine. He was okay. But in this day and age, X's and O's, it's important. But the money, managing the money, raising the money, evaluating the talent in the portal, putting the team together, that's like the talent.
Yeah, I think he's a good coach. There's no doubt about that. And to Lucky's point, he did work the system and got a top-rate program this year for Maryland.
I heard him talk one time and say he apologized for 2 years ago not getting ahead of the idea of how the portal worked. And he said, I figured it out. So I think this year he figured it out. He recruited the right players. I also think in terms of X's and O's, there were times. Now, I went to all but one home game. I watched everything on TV. There was a lot. He had such talent that there was a lot of plays where you're like, oh my God, Queen is just going one-on-one over and over again, and it worked because they were so talented. There were plays, there was defensive changes, but sometimes I watch the game and go, this is like a schoolyard, but it's working.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
2 years ago, I would have said he was a shitty coach. He couldn't get the right personnel to play well together. Maybe he didn't have the talent.
And the talent he was taking then, he was taking some of the freshmen, like a lot of those guys he took as freshmen 2 years ago came into the program. His first recruits never panned out. They're all at like low Division I schools and whatever. But
I'm going to say he's a good coach. I don't think he's a great coach.
Well, if you are obviously the last game they had, they played what seems to be a very good coach. Florida's coach.
Yeah.
Young guy.
That has a lot of talent.
A lot of depth.
But they run really good plays. You can see the way they were doing their pick and rolls and all that we never really did pick and rolls at that level. And they were so quick.
Yeah.
And I mean, Florida is two of the 4 teams, right, going in, right?
Yep.
It's Florida and Duke.
Yep.
And they don't play each other. They're in different, even though they both finished on Saturday. They play the opposite side games today.
Yeah.
But Florida looks really good. I know they didn't play great in the last game, but Duke looks really good.
Yeah. So I saw a couple stats. They're always talking about at least Maryland. Maryland's trying to be good in football and basketball, and everybody's like, well, they are a basketball school. The basketball should get all the money, even though like football's got so many players. I saw the stat. There are 4 Power 4 schools who had a larger season attendance for men's basketball than football.
Can I ask some questions that you may or may not know the answers to? Because you shared this with me. So when they announce a crowd at football, I always kind of smile because it's usually the number of tickets sold.
Yeah. And
so the number appears always to be bigger than what my personal opinion is on the crowd.
Well, there's season ticket holders who don't go to the games or whatever.
And there's obviously less games. So are you talking about total throughout the season, the people who went to Maryland football versus the Maryland basketball?
Whatever the way that they count attendance. Okay. I think it's tickets sold. Okay. So right. I would imagine. Yeah. But there are 4 schools that have more basketball watchers than football.
Right.
Duke, Maryland, Kansas, and Syracuse.
So I get Duke.
Yeah.
Duke has a great basketball team versus their football team. It was big competitive in some years.
Right.
Duke, what's in it? Kansas?
Yeah. Kansas.
Okay, I'll say the same thing.
Yeah.
Maryland, which is what we're kind of focused on. Syracuse surprises me because I thought Syracuse at times was a really good basketball school and a really good football school. No?
They have been. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that's why they
was
built
someone that surprised me.
They built the Carrier Dome because of football.
Yeah.
Obviously, they were a big football school, and they've had some famous players over time. Jim Brown was a Syracuse guy, right? Yeah. So they have football history.
But I think the point you're trying to make is the football stadiums are so much bigger. You would think that you would have many more tickets sold for football.
I think this stat, the reason why it attracted my eye was that it does substantiate that Maryland, they're a Big Ten school, but it does substantiate that they are basketball. More people go watch basketball than football.
And there are other teams that if you ask me to guess, why isn't Indiana on there? Why isn't, you know what I mean? Like there are other teams.
Well, that was this year though. I think before this year, Indiana
this was just this year. Yeah. Okay. So so hopefully Maryland lands a good coach. They need an athletic director. So I think we'll have something to talk about for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Vis-a-vis that. A couple weird, I've been collecting all these college sports crazy stats and things going on. Okay. Here's a few of them. Indiana State and Indiana have no players. All of their players have either graduated or entered the portal, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Especially for a state, by the way, it's
known for basketball.
Known for basketball. And whatever happened to the guy last year that was remember the big guy that wore the goggles in Indiana State? Maybe he had the nickname of Steph Blurry.
Yeah.
That guy. I wonder whatever happened to him.
Yeah. That's interesting. Lost track of him.
Yeah. Okay, another things. Robert Morris, who won the Horizon League championship, they were in the NCAA tournament. All 5 of their starters into the portal.
Right.
So you would think, okay, come back and let's do it again. Michigan, who had they were in the Sweet 16. One of their core players entered the portal during the NCAA tournament. It was Scotty Pippen's son, Justin Pippen, which is interesting. And then this one, which is something that we're going to all have to watch. So St. Francis, who was they were in the NCAA tournament this year. They were in the first 4. They played the playing games. They came out and basically their administration said, we're going to move down to Division III. We're done competing in the big time, money things and all the NIL and the rev share and all that. We just can't, and all the travel, like we're departing too far away from the core of academics. And during the press conference and the discussion of it, there are going to be more and more schools that say, hey, we're going to opt into Division III. We still want to have teams, but we don't want to do all that big money stuff. So here's a team that made the NCAA tournament this year, and they decided.
So I have been watching some games. I don't want to say I've watched a ton, but I've watched a fair amount of the tournament games. I don't watch any of the pregame stuff. Are they talking about how dirty college basketball has become from that standpoint?
Oh, they're never going to say it's dirty.
No, well, it's a poor choice of words, but just how fundamentally flawed the entire system is, right? Because of the money distorting what is college athletics.
Well,
do they talk about it?
Until the ratings, falter? They're not going to. The commentators and the team, they're going to say it's a lot of changes, a lot of flux. They're going to talk about it, but I don't think they're saying it as a negative, which because it would be, hurting the mouth. Or what do they say?
I heard one
person that's feeding you.
Yeah,
biting the hand that feeds.
Biting the hand that feeds you.
I've heard more than one person say, "Okay, I get it that you think this is bad. Has it affected the quality of the game? These are some of the funnest games to watch still."
I think the games might arguably be better.
Right.
Well, but they said this NCAA tournament was sort of boring until Derek Queen hit that little game-winning shot. There wasn't a lot of Cinderella-esque going on, and they also said that it's chalky. A lot of the high seeds.
But that speaks. I think that supports my point, though, is that the teams have gotten better because they're picking and choosing the players on a draft basis, effectively, right? So you can get a really good 5 players as opposed to 2 good players and 3 players. So I think the quality of the basketball has been pretty good. Yeah. Better than I remember last year's tournament wasn't very good at all.
Interesting.
So,
yeah. All right, so pivot to a couple other things this week. So The Office turned 20. It's 20 years old, and I was reading a lot how much money has been made off of syndication from Office. It was there. I think it was like in the 8-9 years it was on.
Yeah, it was on a long time.
But it's bounced around from Netflix had it to I think Peacock owns it now or whatever. But there's a lot of money in those episodes, and it's funny. Like there's so many people that watch The Office that didn't watch it when it was out.
It ages really well. Like sometimes you watch a rerun of a comedy, now, and you're like, it doesn't make me laugh as much. It's so funny still.
Yeah, remember that was a spinoff of the British show, right? So that's probably been 25 years since that show came out because Ricky Gervais was on that. But so here's a funny story. So there's a guy we met a couple weeks ago, St. Patrick's weekend, who he's introduced to me as Scott, but his real name's Michael. But then he goes by Michael Scott, which is the lead character in The Office. Now, the coincidence of what we've talked about before, he's the guy that goes to Nats Park and registers all the baseballs as they come off the field. Remember we had this whole discussion about the baseballs?
For the memorabilia kind of?
He does it for the Washington Nationals. I met the guy that does the baseballs when they get tossed off the field at the end of a scuff ball or whatever it is, and he registers them all to sell them as memorabilia.
How do you get that job?
That's a pretty cool job.
Yeah. So he does it every Nats game.
So the characters. What character do you associate with between of the Office characters? Michael. Okay, here are the main male characters: Michael, Dwight, Andy, Stanley, Kevin. Any of those like you associate with?
Like personally associate?
Yeah. Like who would you play in the Office if you were tapped?
Who do you think you should play?
I think Biff's probably like an Andy.
I think he's Dwight.
Dwight?
What?
He's definitely Kevin.
Yeah, you're Kevin, right?
I'm Kevin.
Yeah.
I'm not Michael?
No.
Kevin or Stanley?
Really? I want to be Michael. Oh, that sucks.
I don't. Wait, Andy was the HR guy?
No, Andy is the sales guy, but he went to, where'd he go to college? Like he went to an Ivy League school.
The guy from The Hangover.
Yeah,
whatever. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
And who do you think you are since you asked the question? Are you Jim? Are you trying to get the Jim?
I might be Jim. Or who's the accountant guy, the homosexual guy?
That was that's who I thought you were.
What the hell's his name?
The Hispanic guy.
Yeah. Maybe that's me.
You're that guy?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Interesting. Hey, don't leave sports just yet. The Yankees have different shaped bats. The torpedo bat, they're calling it. Did you guys see this? It came up yesterday after the Yankees scored 20 runs. They franchise record 9 home runs in a game. That actually surprised me that was the record. And did you know the major league record? Toronto Blue Jays had 10 home runs in a game. But they're looking at the bats that the Yankees are using for the first time, and they're shaped. They call them the torpedo bats, but they after you leave the handle of the bat, so you have a handle, it gets wider and then thinner again. So they've essentially moved the weight of the bat down a bit so that you can make more contact when you have a history of swinging and hitting balls in the middle of the bat. Now the middle of the bat is even thicker.
I would
bigger.
imagine like that allows you to hit the ball in that spot, but I bet you it has something to do, it changes the velocity that you can bring the bat through the zone.
Maybe it's the same weight.
Yeah.
So
but it's distributed differently.
There's
right?
people looking at the rules of baseball bats and say that it adheres to the present rules, but Major League Baseball may or may not look at it. And if they approve of this, they expect many other teams to look into changing the shape of their bats.
So I'm looking at the bat now, and it looks wider at the handle.
Yeah.
I don't see the knob kind of thing that you're describing. What is weird?
Look.
No,
right
towards
in the, middle,
the top,
the bulge in the middle.
Yeah, the bulge in the middle. I get that, but that's just now it looks like a bowling pin almost.
Yeah, good analogy.
Right? And I guess you can.
If that's where you have a history of hitting the ball in the
Right.
near the label of the bat, you want that to be as thick as possible.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see if it's shown that is helping them to produce more power.
Mr. Fun is the Bill Nye baseball guy.
So since he likes it, and since he's supposed to be playing in the Lucky Open, I'll try this to golf slightly. So Bryson DeChambeau famously now has a driver face that has a similar, that'd be convex, right? Bulge out.
Right.
Which is very hard to hit.
Right.
But when you hit it, it goes with more power.
Oh.
Because it's, if you miss hit it, the ball will go
the
different
momentum
directions.
of the swing is directed.
Is directed right into the center of the club face, which sticks out a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's done that, which is a similar principle.
Yeah.
Right. Must be doing that. That's really interesting.
Baseball's always been interesting to me because it's almost like the one thing that's always stuck out for me is that the dimensions of the stadium can be different from park to park.
Which drives me nuts.
Yeah. And so
I think that makes it interesting.
Okay. And the idea that you can have baseball bats that are created differently is interesting to me. Like, I'm not suggesting they all have to use the same weight or whatever, but why not? I mean, in a lot of sports, the uniform, the football's the same, right? I know there's...
But the way you swing a bat, I mean, you'd be putting smaller guys at a disadvantage potentially if you had... Or bigger, you know what I mean? So I think...
Yeah.
I'm going to opening day tomorrow.
Nice.
The O's
Who's
play.
pitching?
They're Cade Povich, one of their rookie guys.
Well, how many games they win in the first series?
They're 2-1.
So against Toronto, right?
Yeah. Okay. They play their last game today. But so I was like, my wife was asking me about this, like, oh, it's home opener. Well, how? Like, they're 4 games in, so but like it's not opening day.
Right.
Everybody's like referring to it as opening day. it's the home opener.
Yeah, for the fans,
But
or the Baltimore fans.
It's anticlimactic though. Like how does Toronto get to host America's pastime to start the season?
Well,
That's
I think part of it is you can Toronto for sure you can secure the weather. Right? Because
you have a dome.
You have a dome.
Yeah.
It gives you 4 extra days of not having to deal with bad weather. I don't know. Where did the Yankees start the season?
They played at home.
Yeah. So you can rationalize it one way, but it doesn't make sense because like Washington played at home against the Phillies. I think Phillies did pretty well against them.
Yeah.
A couple.
Anyway, but the Terps are throwing out the first ball. Derek Queen and
interesting,
and Julian Reese, and then 2 of the women because they were in the Sweet 16 as well. They're throwing out the first pitch tomorrow, which is pretty cool.
That's good.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what kind of applause. I'm sure they'll get a ton of applause.
Yeah.
But all right, the last thing that I saw was interesting. So all right, so everybody do you guys like to just periodically open up Zillow or and just to sort of see what prices of houses in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
And
who
stuff?
doesn't?
Yeah, and look in different parts of the country, what's going on, blah blah. So there apparently there's a rule that says, and Mr. Fun, you might know a little bit about this, but there's a rule that says when the house is going to be put on the market, it has to be put into the MLS within a certain amount of time, so that transparency, everybody can see all the listings. Well, they're recently going to change. They just recently passed a new rule at the national level that says the seller has discretion if their listing goes into the MLS or not. And because the seller sometimes doesn't want it to go in right away. So what do you think about that?
Well, there were also other rules about this where you've probably seen on Facebook people sharing, their upcoming listing and blah blah blah. And there were people who didn't want that. They didn't want the public to know they were selling their house. So this is part of that as well, that you could have it as an exclusive. That was the good part, that you could sample the market. You could sell you could tell a certain section that real estate company, the people who worked at that real estate company, that the house was coming soon to the MLS, but you could keep it off the MLS, and there was some advantage of that. But now, and now they made that a rule that you can continue to do that. The seller can say, "I want it on there." So the advantage to putting it on there is that everybody in the world can see it. You theoretically could have more competition for your house, a bidding war. You could get more pricing. So there was a thought that you wanted everybody in the world to know that your house was.
So we sold one before it went in the MLS through an agent. And I think the positive of it was, one, you didn't have to do some of the things to prep your house, declutter it, photos, things that you do that, but you can test the market for the price. And the problem with going into MLS right away is that you've got to set a price.
Yeah.
And that price becomes public. And if you have overpriced it and you come off it, it says something's wrong with your house.
Yep. Yeah.
And this allows you to do that. So I'm not quite sure I understand the negatives of it.
Yeah.
The negative is that what I said, I think that you want 1,000 people to know your house is for sale and not 3.
No, but I understand that negative.
Right.
But from a seller's standpoint, I don't see where there's a negative.
It's a right the seller has now.
Right.
I can decide when it goes in.
Right.
And sometimes there might be a circumstance where they don't want it to go in, but most people are going to put it in right away to get the marketing.
One of the things I have seen as of late, so because we just recently sold our house, and what you find out now, like, house listings used to stay online forever, right? You could find the pictures of the house, you could find whatever in the house, like Realtor.com and those things. I think because they've dialed back some of the commission structures and all this other stuff, that stuff's being pulled down now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a value proposition that they said, fine, if you're going to do this, we're going to do this. We're going to take something away. Things have come off and they send you a notice saying it's being pulled down, and they say, I've seen this. It's interesting to watch.
Well, with the Zillows and the Redfins, I mean, I think that's given people like this right to be able to see what's going on in the market. Before those, it was just the realtors who had the MLS systems. They're the only ones that had access. And in the old days, if you're looking for a house, you're like, okay, realtor, print me out some listings. Mm-hmm. Now people can self-serve themselves and go look at neighborhoods, see what houses.
Yeah, it's very rare. Having been on the house hunting thing, it's very rare to find something when you go to a house that you haven't seen online.
That's right.
Or you know every data point when you go in.
Yeah.
And then maybe there's a few things here and there. You get pictures printed out so you don't have to look on them.
You know what's changed too, and I hate to share this with some realtors, they were the neighborhood realtor that was also the neighborhood expert. They knew an upcoming sale before it went on the market. They knew prospective buyers for that. And they were incredibly valuable. If you found the neighborhood realtor who knew, the inside scoop, that was the one you wanted to work with. And that's changed a bit now.
So we, again, I can prove it. And a friend of ours, Rick G. from Crofton, was our agent, and he's based in northern Anne Arundel County. And we had this debate. Did we want an Annapolis agent, or, Rick has a very good pricing model, and we went with Rick. I have no regrets. It worked perfectly.
Yeah.
It didn't matter he wasn't from Annapolis.
Yeah.
And it worked out for us, and it worked out for him.
In a market where like good houses don't stay on the market for a long period of time, right? Mm-hmm. It's a great time to sell houses in a period of time where there's a lot of supply. Then you need that inside baseball.
That's absolutely right. I think you need the inside baseball when it's a different market.
But I agree to a point. There were some places they were sitting on the market in our neighborhood.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, they weren't selling as quickly. Huh. I think you just have to have the right agent to go in and help you market the house.
Well, now that you're out of the neighborhood, those houses are probably going. They're going so quickly.
People like me. We set the price. But a final thing on real estate, which is interesting to watch, which I do watch it quite a bit, is the Florida real estate market and seeing how that thing is on it's cratering in lots of parts of Florida.
Yeah.
And it's scary to think what national
What's happening at the Delaware beaches?
In terms of
pricing?
There's a lot of houses on the market now. I think it's an interesting time to watch around here because you've got a large metro area, which is in the D.C. area in particular, feeds a lot of this market, is what's the second home buyer doing these days coming out of D.C.?
Yeah.
I think in general, the buyers coming out of New Jersey and Pennsylvania are loading up Southern Delaware. There's house construction everywhere.
Is it because there's more building down here?
There's a lot of building down here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible how much building there is. And there's been tax referendums and things that we've already dealt with. But the growth doesn't seem to be stopping because I've seen a bunch of national surveys where Delaware's in easily the top 10 of places to retire now because of the no sales tax, pretty low income tax, property tax is very low. And so I think that's going to continue on. I think it's this interesting to watch the beach communities, though. Ocean City, where Lucky's place is, and ours, and in Bethany, is there a dampening of either rentals or purchases at the beaches because of larger economic issues?
Well, Ocean City is going through this. They're wrestling over this, not allowing owners
short-term rentals.
Short-term rentals. They're trying to get rid of that, and it's like there's half the people are like, I want to rent my house whenever I want, and the other people are like, I don't want people that I live here all year round. I don't want renters.
Yeah, we talked about that with Jim, and I think it's the hotels exerting influence on that. I really do because they've got investments.
Yeah,
they want to control more of the market.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So, but it's good. It's great. It's coming into season down here, so people are showing up. We were out last night. The boathouse was crowded.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it was packed like summer because they didn't have the outdoor gazebo thing done, but it was crowded.
Any celebrities? Because I wasn't there, so I.
There were people at the signature table for the autograph table.
Where's Mr. Fun?
Where's Mr. Fun?
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions about that.
Got it.
Strangely enough, I actually had one of the talk about business cards, and I handed out. Actually, I think I handed out 2 last night.
Nice,
very nice.
So we were
two more listeners than we had before.
2 more listeners.
Excellent.
So we're getting that. So
Excellent.
we'll
out
do
of time.
So speaking, we have the Lucky Open coming up, Mr. Fun. Have you been working on your golf game?
I haven't started yet, but I'm going to work.
When are you going to work on your golf game?
Been very busy at work. Very busy.
Okay.
So I know we talked before the podcast about this flight to China that turned around.
Yes.
As a U.S. flight out of San Francisco, I think, to China. 2 hours into the flight, they turn around because the captain realizes he's forgotten his passport.
Yeah.
My first thought was, okay, why didn't they just land in China and just not let him get out of the airport on the airplane?
I don't know how that works.
But there's no, typically if a passenger made it that far without a passport, they would hold him in the airport and they'd ship him back.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not sure. China may be different. Don't get me wrong. I haven't been to China before. Yeah. They are a bit stricter about it. But I'm shocked that they wouldn't just make the case to let him land, stay in the airport, and get him out.
Maybe China. Maybe the pilot himself was fearful because he may be.
Well, you have to have a visa to get into China. You can't just get in with a passport. So you actually have to which I got to imagine for pilots, it's got to be evergreen almost. But I was just a little surprised they didn't let that flight go because just think about the cost of turning that flight around.
Yeah. And how pissed you are. You're banking on how long does it take to fly to China? That's a long flight.
Well, from the West Coast, I don't know, let's call it 12 hours.
Yeah.
Something like that. And, I guess the flight was 6 hours delayed getting to Beijing. I read that. So the passengers get screwed too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I guess it's better that that was the reason it turned around versus the one where they were putting blankets and shit in
this is the India flight.
Yeah, that we talked about like a week or so.
Was anybody surprised that flight had a bad smell to it?
So I had a coworker living in New Jersey who used to work for Samsung, so a Korean company, and he was going over from New Jersey to Korea quite a bit. And he says that the Korean air flight from Newark, I guess it was, or JFK, is that it was known that the Koreans are very, I guess, they have a constitution of some sort in the sense that they eat, they go to the bathroom.
Got it.
And he goes,
the Constitution.
I'm trying to think of the polite word to say.
How their plumbing works.
Yeah, how their plumbing. They get the train running on time, and then
right.
But anyways, and he said the entire flight, it's just people going back and forth to take a crap.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, he said that on the Korean flights. It's like
that. It's just one man's opinion, or this is factual.
This is I believe it to be factual because he told me. It wasn't like he'd done a lot of the flights. The thing is, if you were loaded by the toilet, you would not be enjoying the flight to Seoul.
Can I share we talked about it last week, and can I share a story about my favorite TV show?
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about when we went to watch the Maryland game, and you had to leave in the middle of it.
My Constitution.
Oh, it hit you?
I think it's the Ozempic.
Tell that story.
So I tell you that I always feel full. That's my side effect of the Ozempic. So I'm there, and we're drinking pitchers of beer.
Yeah.
And there's some chicken wings and all the stuff that, I love. And about, I don't know, we were losing. It was early. It was like 18-9.
Yeah, middle of the game.
Yeah.
He gets up and leaves.
Where'd you go to your office?
I went back to my office.
Because he had a brownout. He had emergency.
I had an emergency. Like I was a small child in kindergarten.
You were, as a famously in what was the movie? But they called it prairie dogging. You were prairie dogging.
I got to tell you, I was so happy with my decision. And so relieved. I had the biggest smile on my face.
So you wouldn't go into the bar
not for
bathroom?
This.
Really?
Not for this event. Not for this event. It took, not for this event. It was bad. I came back. We were winning. I should have stayed away. So listen, Naked and Afraid is my show. And you guys
we
asked
talked
me
about it last week.
Yeah, so I'm trying to catch up on some taped episodes this week. And I stumble upon, it's okay. It's halfway through the episode, so I don't really know what's going on. But usually, it's pretty
same premise.
Yeah, same premise. So that's what I was thinking. And it's this woman, and she's sitting on a rock, and she's just sitting on the rock, and she has gloves on, and I'm so confused. And do you know the way it starts? Have you ever watched it? So it starts with here's a guy and he was ex-military and blah blah, and here's a woman and she was I don't know, an EMT somewhere, and they both love outdoor adventures and blah blah blah, but they're tasked with the unimaginable event of being put in a jungle environment or something like that with no clothes on. They have a bag that has like one survival tool in it. It could be a axe or a knife, and maybe they have a fishing line or something like that. It's really a task. It's almost impossible, and they're usually in peak medical, physical condition and blah 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 blah. So I'm watching this woman with the gloves, and I'm thinking, what is going on here? And they pan back. She has no legs. She's a double amputee. So she's a double amputee, naked, just sitting. Which, I mean, these people have to walk long distances, and they often get thorns in their feet and stuff like that.
She's not getting any thorns.
I know. Well, not in her feet because she doesn't have feet. So now I'm fascinated, and I can't. I decide to watch it without rewinding for some reason because it's peculiar. But then I rewound, and she got roofied. She got roofied and left, ready for this, on train tracks. And and I'm like, did this show just jump the shark where they have to have this person? She survived. She went to 21 days with.
How did she get around? The guy carried her?
No, that's why the gloves are. She must pivot using the arm.
Sure, but how
the guy? Can you imagine the guy?
He comes out of he's naked. He comes out of the woods. He's thinking, I hope my partner is physically fit and stuff. And then he's like, where are you? And he looks down. She's like, I'm over here. It could not be worse. It could not be worse. So she was a hero in my mind. He did have to carry her.
But why would you think that would be jumping the shark? Just curious.
Just because they had to what is it called when you make something fantastic? You fantasticize it. I don't even know the word. You're like, it was great. It was great. But when they're
romanticized, not romanticized.
You know what I'm saying,
your point
right?
is that okay? But they've got
It's already crazy.
It's hard enough to survive. You got to put somebody on with no legs.
She proved me wrong. She's amazing. This lady. She's heavily tattooed. I was like, but why is she wearing gloves? And why is she sitting on a rock?
She's got jazz hands.
Wait a minute. So wait a minute. She got roofied. They left her on a train track, and the train ran over her legs.
That's her premise.
How do you survive that?
I don't know. And then she went on to say, I need a more challenging part of my life.
Yeah, that's right.
Unbelievable. So I highly recommend that particular episode. Yeah.
21 days?
21 days, naked and afraid with no legs. It was unbelievable.
But she had some gloves.
She had great gloves.
She had gloves. Were they in the jungle? Or were
they were in the jungle. They were in the jungle. And
Oh, gosh.
I'm glad she didn't have to outrun something, like a fucking leopard or something coming after her.
Right. It was unbelievable.
So good.
I highly recommend that.
Mr. Fun.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we are at that point where we have to get to a risque joke.
Okay, let's see. If a deaf girl gives you a hand job, is that oral sex? No? No? All right.
That's good.
You want another one?
I'm not sure. Is it going to live up to that one?
No, I can't top it. I'll leave it there.
I'll leave it there. So, Lucky, how do they get a hold of it?
Talkabout2023@gmail.com.
Excellent. Yeah. So, Mr. Fun, good to see you.
Thank you.
Sorry we didn't comment. You're a little under the weather.
Yeah, but I appreciate your support.
But we're glad you're here. So we will do it again soon. Not sure when, but we will do it again soon.
Yeah.
Thank everybody for listening. And until we do it again next time, let me just say goodbye.
All right, so like Office we said it was his 20th birthday. How do you guys rank The Office, Seinfeld, and Friends, which are of our last era? They're usually like the three best. What do you got? One, two, three of that list?
Man, I hate that you asked me to do this.
Office, Seinfeld, and Friends.
What
order?
I think Office is my favorite, and I'll go.
Well, they're complete. Although they're all three sitcoms, right?
Yeah.
They're completely different formats.
Yeah.
Right?
But they're the three preeminent comedies
for our generation. Right, yeah. I mean, Seinfeld was the intellectual, in a sense. It broke comedic ground and territory the way it was written.
Yeah.
Right? And I think so that one actually holds up pretty well too. We were talking about The Office earlier. Yeah. I think Seinfeld holds up pretty well.
Yeah.
Friends does too. They make $1 gazillion on Friends. I think it's the highest syndicated show now.
Yeah.
They're making like $30 million a year, each of those people. And Friends was. It's interesting, Friends, you watch it now. You didn't realize it at the time. It was early 90s, right? Friends, 94, 95, something like that. And I've watched it with my kids. You realize how sexual that show, the themes are throughout almost that entire show.
Friends?
Yeah, Friends in particular.
Yeah.
Right? It was an interesting thing to watch. But, I mean, Office intellectually is a really good show, right? Especially the looking into the camera bit.
Yeah.
That's the first show to ever do that.
Yeah.
In that documentary, it's a documentary style.
Yeah. I go Office, Seinfeld, Friends in that order. But they're all three great shows.
Yeah, to me, The Office, the thing that's difficult in those sorts of shows is there's no audience and there's no laugh track, so you got to make the humor work.
Right.
Somebody can't tell you it's funny.
Yeah.
Hey, Lucky, are you looking for a part-time job?
I could.
Yeah, because the local strip joint, it's a male strip joint where men perform, is looking to hire. I think you'd fit right in because it's currently short-staffed. Short staff? Okay. Some people call it a staff. I don't know why.
Again, there's a reason we got you off after one joke at the end of the podcast. So speaking of which, this is the outro, gentlemen. And I've completely forgotten.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, it is. We are to thank them for listening again.
Yeah.
And we hope they come back.
We'd like you to come back next week and listen to Biff, Lucky, and Mr. Fun.
And I forgot what we said. It wasn't goodbye for now. Maybe it was goodbye.
No, it was. And remember, we never say.
We never say goodbye.
Never say goodbye.
We never say goodbye.
I just said it in, what is that, German? Is Wiedersehen?
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen? I don't know.
He's the most recent European traveler. He can't even say goodbye in a second language.
I didn't have to use it. So
what'd you say in France when you say goodbye?
Bonjour.
That's hello.
I say ciao.
I said it hello and goodbye.
Like aloha. It's
exactly.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Right?
What's ciao?
Italian.
Oh,
for
I
goodbye.
knew that.
What's ciao?
Damn it.
Like you wouldn't know what
El
ciao
dente
is.
and ciao.
Oh my gosh. Like you wouldn't know what ciao is.
I know. Damn it.
All right, with that, we're leaving.
We never say goodbye.
Take it slow, take it